The arena floor was made of polished obsidian, reflecting the harsh crimson lights that hung like dying stars above. Sergeant Marcus Chen stood at the center, his combat armor scarred and dented from a dozen previous encounters. Blood trickled from a gash above his left eyebrow, but his grip on his plasma rifle remained steady. Across the vast circular chamber, the Zephyrian Council observed from their elevated platform. Their elongated forms swayed with what humans had learned to recognize as anticipation. For 3 cycles, they had tested humanity's warriors against their combat specimens. Each test had been designed to break not just bodies but spirits. The final trial, announced High Arbiter Veltar, his voice echoing through the chamber's acoustics. Your species claims to possess what you call indomitable will. We shall see. The massive gates at the far end began to grind open with a sound like thunder. Steam hissed from the darkness beyond, and something enormous stirred within. Marcus had faced their previous creatures, the acid-spitting Gorathons, the lightning-fast Razorwings, the armored Titanoids. He had survived them all, but barely. This would be different. He could feel it in the way the alien observers leaned forward, in the way the very air seemed to thicken with expectation. What emerged defied easy description. The apex predator of Zephyr Prime stood 12 feet tall, its chitinous exoskeleton gleaming like black metal. 6 limbs ended in claws that could rend starship hull plating, and its elongated skull housed rows of crystalline teeth that hummed with bioelectric energy. Most terrifying were its eyes. Not the simple compound structures of insects, but intelligent predatory orbs that tracked Marcus with calculated malice. This creature, Veltar continued, has never been defeated. It has ended the aspirations of 17 species who sought alliance with the Zephyrian Empire. Your people sent only one representative to this final test. The High Arbiter's tone carried what might have been amusement. We find this optimistic. Marcus checked his weapons charge, 60%. He had 2 grenades left, a combat knife and approximately 15 minutes of enhanced reflexes remaining in his stimulant injector. The math was simple. It wasn't enough. But math had never been humanity's strongest suit anyway. The beast circled him with predatory grace, its claws clicking against the obsidian. Marcus had studied the recordings of its previous encounters. The creature was methodical, testing its prey's defenses before striking with overwhelming force. It had crushed a Vraxian champion in its mandibles, dissolved a Ketheri berserker with its acid spit, and torn apart a heavily armed Centaurian squad like they were made of paper. You know, Marcus said, his voice carrying across the silent arena, my grandmother used to tell me stories about Earth's old predators, lions, tigers, bears. He adjusted his stance, keeping the rifle trained on the creature's center mass. Scary stuff, sure. But you know what she told me was the most dangerous predator on Earth? The beast lunged without warning, covering 30 feet in a single bound. Marcus dove left, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to barely avoid claws that carved deep gouges in the obsidian where he had stood. He rolled, came up firing, and watched his plasma bolts splash harmlessly against the creature's natural armor. Humans, he continued, as if the conversation hadn't been interrupted by attempted disembowelment. She said humans were the most dangerous because we were the only predators who killed for reasons other than hunger or territory. The creature spun with impossible speed, its tail lashing out like a whip. Marcus took the blow across his ribs, felt something crack, and was hurled 20 feet across the arena floor. He rolled with the impact, came up bleeding but still moving. We kill for ideas, he gasped, pulling the pin on his first grenade. For principles, for people we've never met. He hurled the explosive at the creature's feet. The blast rocked the arena and filled the air with smoke and debris. When it cleared, the beast stood unharmed, but Marcus was gone. We kill, his voice echoed from somewhere in the smoke. Because sometimes dying for something matters more than living for nothing. The creature's head whipped around, trying to locate its prey. Marcus dropped from a damaged lighting fixture above, landing on the beast's back. His combat knife, enhanced with a molecular edge, punched through a gap in the armor between the creature's shoulder blades. The beast roared, a sound like tearing metal, and bucked like a bronco. Marcus held on, driving the blade deeper, searching for something vital. Claws raked across his back, shredding his armor and the flesh beneath. His second grenade was armed and ready. "The thing about humans," he shouted over the creature's fury, "is that we're really, really good at figuring out how to kill things that are stronger than us." He shoved the armed grenade into the wound his knife had created and kicked off the creature's back just as massive claws closed on empty air where his head had been. He hit the ground hard, rolled, and covered his head. The explosion was muffled but devastating. The creature staggered, bioluminescent fluid spraying from the wound in its back. It wasn't dead, but it was hurt, confused, angry. It spun toward Marcus, who lay crumpled against the arena wall, his rifle shattered, his armor in tatters. Marcus pushed himself to his feet, swaying but still standing. Blood ran freely from a dozen wounds, and his left arm hung at an unnatural angle. The creature advanced slowly now, wary but still lethal. "You want to know the real secret?" Marcus asked, wiping blood from his mouth with his good hand. "It's not that we're the strongest or the fastest or the smartest." He reached for his sidearm with his functioning arm. "It's that we're too stupid to know when we're beaten." The creature charged for the final time. Marcus's pistol had 6 shots left. He waited until he could see his reflection in the beast's eyes, then put all 6 rounds through its left pupil. The apex predator of Zephyr Prime crashed to the obsidian floor and lay still. The arena fell silent except for Marcus's ragged breathing. He stood over the fallen creature for a moment, then looked up at the observation platform where the Zephyrian Council sat in stunned silence. "So," he called out, his voice hoarse but steady, "about that alliance." High Arbiter Veltar descended to the arena floor, his elongated form moving with newfound respect. "We did not expect this outcome." Marcus wiped more blood from his face and grinned, an expression that the Zephyrians had learned to find both charming and deeply unsettling. "Yeah," he said, looking down at the massive corpse at his feet. "Neither did I, honestly." The grin widened despite his injuries. "But that's humans for you. We specialize in exceeding expectations." As the medics arrived to tend to his wounds, Marcus Chen, bloodied but unbroken, had just secured humanity's place among the stars, and he was still smiling.